Donald Trump is losing it. He's losing in court every day. He's losing points off his approval rating, and he's very clearly losing brain cells as the cognitive decline becomes clearer and clearer. But with all of that, with the walls closing in around Trump, he has no other option but to resort to going to his little safe space, which is attacking the people who live rent-free in his head. We have seen the attacks on President Biden and President Obama pick up over the past couple of weeks as things fall apart for Donald Trump, and now he has come to his last resort, attacking Kamala Harris for some reason in one of the strangest rants we've ever seen from Donald Trump in the wake of his lawsuit backfiring. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, there were a couple of reasons why Donald Trump, I guess bad reasons Donald Trump attacked Kamala Harris in this very weird post, but I think the biggest one can start with the speech she recently gave right here.
We all know President Trump and his administration and their allies are counting on the notion that fear can be contagious. They are counting on the notion that if they make some people afraid, it will have a chilling effect on others. But what they're overlooking, what they have overlooked, is that fear is not the only thing that's contagious. Courage is contagious. The courage of Americans who are banding together in the face of the greatest man-made economic crisis in modern presidential history. Americans across the political spectrum who are declaring that the president's reckless tariffs hurt workers and families by raising the cost of everyday essentials, devastate the retirement accounts that people spent a lifetime paying into, and paralyze American businesses, large and small, forcing them to lay off people, to stop hiring or pause investment decisions. The courage of Americans we are seeing who are rallying at Social Security offices to protect their hard-earned benefits. Of Americans who are speaking out to say, it is not okay to violate court orders. Not okay. Saying it is not okay to detain and disappear American citizens or anyone without due process. The courage of judges to uphold the rule of law in the face of those who would jail them. Of universities that are defying unconstitutional demands that threaten the pursuit of truth and academic independence.
So obviously Donald Trump is attacking President Biden, he's attacking President Obama, he's attacking VP Harris because he feels like there's nothing else he could say, right? His tariffs are falling apart. The only thing he's done in office is raise prices, create chaos, and rename a body of water, which no one will refer to it as the Gulf of America, so let's get that straight. But he's done nothing. He wishes he could be back on the campaign trail attacking Kamala Harris with his lies because now he has to face the truth that his presidency is falling apart. And it's not just that, it's all of the attacks that he has tried to make. They're backfiring as we see more institutions stand up to Donald Trump. And one institution Donald Trump has gone after the most is the free press, specifically 60 Minutes. And that is the biggest reason that Donald Trump attacked and melted down over Kamala Harris, as we can see right here. Trump wrote in a very weird and long Truth Social post, the election-interfering 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris, which aired on CBS just before Election Day and deep into early voting, turned out to be much worse than expected, with her answers being unlawfully fixed, manipulated, and doctored throughout by CBS in order to try and make Kamala appear at least somewhat coherent. The The full transcript, which 60 Minutes, CBS, and Paramount tried to hide from the American people and refused to release until after I was already inaugurated, and they were ordered to do so by the Federal Communications Commission, shows that the interview was nothing but fake, corrupt, and anti-Trump propaganda. On top of that, in a total slap to the face to anyone who believes in truth and honest journalism, this fake news puff piece has now been nominated for an award by the totally discredited Emmys. Did 60 Minutes and its corporate parents apply to get an Emmy for an illegally falsified interview, or did other fake outlets nominate them for this dubious honor? These antics are why the American people have no trust in the press and demand that the media, very much including 60 Minutes, CBS, and its owners, be held responsible for their corruption and lies, which is exactly what we are doing in court. The economy is falling apart because the dumbest man in America has launched the dumbest trade war in history, and he is bleeding and screaming in the early morning about Kamala Harris's interview getting nominated for an Emmy. That is the focus of the President of the United States. Are we serious? He's attacking Kamala Harris over being nominated for an Emmy in her interview. What is happening? And I need to get off my chest this little pet issue I have right now with the media going around, both somehow praising themselves and also, attacking themselves for not covering Joe Biden enough at the end of his presidency, saying we need to cover the cognitive decline more. And it's like, first of all, you never stopped talking about his age or his shoes or what he wore. And now Donald Trump is clearly melting down in front of us, and you don't want to say a word? The press is embarrassing. I don't want to agree in the same way that Trump is, but this press is cowardly. It is sad. Donald Trump is melting down. He isn't focused. Even if he was, it would be terrible. My God, what are we doing here? Like, seriously, this is unbelievable. Again, they're destroying the economy, and this is what Trump is focused on. Nonsensical. Speaking of nonsensical, Bernie Sanders was also calling out the awful business practices that Donald Trump has fully endorsed during his administration in this clip right here.
The workers in the United States have a right to be members of unions.
Okay.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't know it was a question.
Okay. President Trump issued an executive order banning collective bargaining in the VA, eliminating union rights for 79% of workers there because of security reasons. Do you think that workers in the VA are a threat to national security if they're a member of a union?
I don't think that was the purpose of the EO, Senator.
That's exactly what he said. Then why did you eliminate collective bargaining rights at the VA?
I think the interesting issue here is that's not what the EO is about. The EO is our national security interest of our fourth mission. And if you look at the entire EO, is about making sure that the fourth mission is not.
Is a nurse at the VA a national security threat by being a member of a union?
Okay, sir, I can't answer the question. We're on different pages. It's not the fact that the VA is a national security threat. It's a national security threat that if we can't perform our fourth mission,
that's
looking at.
Well,
I mean,
that's what the bottom line is. Unions, 79% of workers at the VA are union members. They no longer are able to engage in collective bargaining. To me, that is an outrage. I think the courts will overturn that.
Next question. Well, at this point, that's not true. At this point, that's not true.
All right. Let me ask you this. Do you believe that every veteran in this country, as I believe, and I think many members of this committee believe, are entitled to VA health care?
As a veteran, yes.
Yeah, okay. What are we doing right now? What are you doing to improve outreach to bring more veterans into VA?
Well, I think that's, let's go back to a question you just said. Does everybody have a right to be in a union? The answer is yes. Does everybody have a right to, on the benefit that they've earned, to come to the VA? But I can't force them in.
No, of course you can't. But of course you can't.
I'm missing maybe the point there. I apologize.
The point is, there are a lot of veterans out there. I know this. I used to be chair of this committee, who do not know what their benefits are. And it's our obligation to say to veterans all over this country, you put your life on the line to defend America. Congress has passed A, B, and C. We welcome you into the VA if you choose to come in.
Yeah, Senator, I think this is a great place for us to have an honest, a conversation, because I'm concerned about this as well. And part of this goes back to how we're actually transitioning out of DOD into VA.
That's one of the factors.
And I think that's one of the big things. And there's an honest conversation here. Is it properly placed right now transition. So I'm wanting to do that, and we're doing outreach all the time with our vet centers and everybody else to let people know.
Okay. I think we could do a better job.
I agree.
Think we have to
I agree completely.
Okay. Question. You know, we talk about VA healthcare, which is what we're here to talk about, but we don't put it into a context. We are living in a nation which has a broken, dysfunctional, wildly expensive healthcare system. In your judgment, just out of curiosity, how does VA healthcare compare to healthcare out in the regular world for civilians?
I think in certain areas, just like we're out in the regular world, you have some hospitals that are performing exceptionally and you have some that are not. I think that's the problem that we have in our healthcare systems in general. I think this is something I said earlier. We can't separate out VA from the healthcare system as in a whole.
That's
and
true.
I think,
All right.
But sometimes we do that.
All right. Let me ask you this. My understanding is that we have, roughly speaking, a shortage of 2,500 doctors, 6,600 nurses. All right? What are you guys doing to bring in more doctors, nurses, social workers into VA where they're desperately needed?
Well, one, I want to move doctors that are not working with patients and move them into patient care. That would be a good start. Nurses as well. Also, I'd like to have help from the Congress as well. We need to actually look at our pay structures and our caps on our doctors and what we can pay them. It's very difficult to compete when you're offering at some points hundreds of thousands of dollars less for someone to come work at the VA.
All right. Do you acknowledge, I agree with you, do you acknowledge, though, that right now there is a shortage of doctors, nurses, social workers in the VA?
I acknowledge there's a shortage for everybody in the healthcare industry on those same issues.
But in the VA? I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying.
I mean, we're the same as everybody else. That's why I said we are the same as every other healthcare system. We're struggling to recruit doctors, nurses, and others just as anybody else. And that's something we're constantly in outreach about. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not.
The Department of Defense has a medical school. You're aware of that? Uniformed Services Medical School, which does a very good job. Do you think that one of the problems we have overall is that we're not graduating enough doctors and nurses in America?
Yes.
All right. Do you think we can be expanding schools like the Uniformed Services Medical School to bring more people into DOD and VA healthcare?
It's an interesting concept. I think we got to go back to a deeper issue: is why are more of our young people not going to school to go to be a doctor, or a nurse, or other things? I think that's a bigger issue.
Fair enough, but that has to do with it. I'm a working class kid. I'm going to graduate medical school $500,000 in debt, correct?
We have to be on the offensive all the time. What is happening under this administration is not only awful, but embarrassing. And we have to call it out in the same way that we have seen done from Bernie Sanders, AOC, Ro Khanna, people traveling the country, speaking out. We need more of that. And we're going to be bringing it on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.